Happy Monday, y'all. So I have a question for you today. At what point does trotting out Biden like he is Hannibal Lecter, when is that elder abuse? Because over the last couple weeks, with stuff with the special counsel and this and that and the other, it's not getting better, right? It's getting a lot worse, and there is a presidential election in 9 months that he has a chance of being on the ballot for. So what are we doing here? What's the plan? That's what I want to know. And also, we're going to discuss the pronoun police because they have struck again. This is Just Say No. I am your host, Noelle. Let's get into it. So is it news to anyone that Uncle Joe is losing his mind? Of course not. Of course this is not news, but it is worth having a reminder of it, seeing as how it's possible that there are people out there who are going to go and vote for this man in 9 months. So let's put on our thinking caps, ladies and gentlemen. So this obviously was sparked by what occurred a few weeks ago with the special counsel essentially stating that they're declining to prosecute on the classified documents case because Joe's old. He is old and he is senile. So that is incredible. And right after this news came out, Biden and whoever is in charge of him decided that it was totally appropriate and a good move to let him give a briefing. So during this briefing, Biden, he referred to the Mexican president, Sisi, and how he won't open his border to refugees in Gaza. Now, what I'm not going to do is explain the error that is made in this statement. Because if you can't figure that one out for yourself, you have larger problems than what I am able to help you address in a podcast. Now, it is not uncommon for a president to make intellectual blunders. In fact, that's the norm. That's where we are. He is 80 years old, and he is running off about half of a brain cell, and that half a brain cell is already working overtime just to keep the man standing upright, so it doesn't exactly have much time for other things like keeping foreign leaders straight. But for this particular blunder to come in the same briefing in which he is defending his memory and mental accuracy to the reporters, well, the optics just are not that good, Joey. They're not looking that good. Now, flash forward about a week or so after this, the White House let the public know that the president will not, in fact, be taking a cognitive test during his upcoming physical. And I suppose the question here is just why? If he is truly doing as well as everyone keeps gaslighting us into believing, then why not take a test and prove it? I mean, good lordy. But according to our beloved Black lesbian press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden's doctor said that he, quote, proves his mental ability every day in how he operates and thinks, end quote. So based off of that statement, if the test is denied, they want us, the people, to judge Biden based off of how he speaks and moves about on the daily. And if that is the case, then I think that the decision will be unanimous. Our president is too old to do this job. And I'm not the only one who feels this way. Recent polling shows that 86% of Americans believe that he is too old. And that includes 73% of Democrats. So what is also crazy is how many people I have seen on X who actually seem to support and are defending Joe Biden. Now, they could be bots, but let's just roll with this for a second. Because, look, I totally understand that there will always be blue no matter who and never Trumpers and this and that and the other, but this was not that. What I saw was people readily going to war to defend Joe Biden, which is insane to do for any politician. And granted, I know people do it for Trump, but at least with Trump, he's entertaining, right? He was in entertainment long before he got into politics. He's a wild card and nobody ever knows what's going to be next, and it keeps people tuned in. Meanwhile, Joe Biden can't even keep himself tuned in. And that is the bottom line here, is that Joe Biden is a body. And so please keep that in mind in November. Please keep in mind that the lights are off upstairs. Nobody is home. And he should not be running our country. And I just implore you to think about how your life was in 2019 versus today. I know my life was easier then. We're going to move on. We're keeping with the clown world theme. The pronoun police strike again. I made a video about this when it first happened, but I wanted to go into a little bit more depth because there is only so much that can be said within a 1 to 2 minute video. So, if you missed it, a 90-year-old woman named Fran was let go from her volunteer position with the National MS Society because she was confused by a request to add pronouns to her email signature. Now, Fran's late husband died about 20 years ago from this disease, which is why she has pretty much dedicated her life to this volunteer work and has been incredibly committed to the cause. She has been with this foundation for 60 years. Now, and again, Fran is 90 years old, which means she was born in 1934. They had bigger things going on back then. They had bigger things going on back then than to worry about pronouns or gender. There were real problems going on back then. And for a lot of elderly folks, trying to figure out how to put their phone on speaker is like asking them to get a rocket into space. And the pronoun crap is just as outlandish and just as confusing. And the lack of empathy that I see for elderly people in this day and age is astounding. I mean, it truly is. The pronoun police are piranhas in general, but it's like they just don't have empathy. It's insane. I was watching a video the other day, and a person was discussing a celebrity who goes by they, them, or she, her. And throughout the video, the person kept switching between the theys and the she's and the hers and the thems, and it was a jumbled mess. And it was incredibly difficult to listen to because it was grammatically incorrect. And we have an understanding of our language that is incongruent with this sudden grammatical change. And so it made the video very hard to follow and to listen to, okay? And I'm 24. I mean, I have a pretty good grasp on this stuff. Now imagine being 90. And to take away something from this woman that was likely one of her few sources of socialization because she doesn't understand what they wanted from her. Because let's be completely clear, she did not pitch a fit about it. She didn't question why everyone else is doing this. All she did was ask, 1, what does it mean? And 2, why she has to do it. And for her to lose this because of that is cruel. And these are the people, you hear it all the time. It's almost overstated that these are the people who preach tolerance, and yet they're so intolerant. But it's true. Yes, you do. So a few days later, she received an email stating that, quote, due to a failure to abide by their DEI guidelines, they have made the decision to have her step down. So, first of all, this is compelled speech. This goes beyond, no, you can't say that. This is, you have to say this. And there is no sane or rational reason that a person should be let go or asked to step down from a position for questioning a policy that requires making a political statement. Because make no mistake, that is what this is. I don't think Fran was aware of this. Again, she's 90. I think she was sincerely just confused as to why she has to put her pronouns in her email and what that is even supposed to mean. But if you're on Instagram or any other platform, or even if you receive an email from someone who has pronouns in their bio or their signature, it is a pretty obvious statement that's being made. And what I find to be the most ironic about this story is how blatantly it illustrates the lies that we are sold. The LGBTQs of the world scream and cry that they're a victim group. You can't make jokes about them. Just ask Dave Chappelle. You can't call out crimes that are committed by members of this group. For example, a few years ago, when that guy was shipping testosterone across the country to minors and every video I made about it would get deleted. You can't do things like pass laws that state that pedos will receive the death penalty because they will then say that this law is going to be used against us, which is, that's a whole separate story that we are not going to get into. But I will raise the point that it's weird that the LGBTQ advocates see a law that states that pedos will receive the death penalty and immediately equate it to the LGBTQ community. So that's that. You can't do things like question the safety or necessity of injecting hormones or performing surgeries on children who claim to be another gender, because all of a sudden, 9-year-olds know who they are for sure and will definitely not change their mind down the road. You can't be against children seeing men prance around with fake boobs out and wearing thongs, because then you're transphobic. And when you, for example, like I do, make videos reporting on this, they'll get deleted for inappropriate content. Yet there were children present, so it's suitable for children in real life, just not online? Roger that. And you certainly cannot question the pronoun policies at your job, or else you'll lose your position at 90 years old after holding it for 60 years. You see, there are a plethora of societal rules that we must all abide by in order to avoid offending anyone under the LGBTQRS umbrella. And if you do offend someone under stated umbrella, you are ostracized. You lose your job. You get doxxed. You're transphobic. You're this, you're that, the other. And yet, they still claim this perpetual victimhood. And you start to wonder, how is it possible that you are simultaneously as victimized as you claim to be, while also wielding this much power? I've said it before, and I will say it again because it's worth mentioning. Most of the people who fit under this umbrella are not actually LGB. They are mostly white women of all ages who are searching desperately for a victim card, because this is how you claim power in today's world. And they achieve this by simply slapping a they, them into their Instagram bio. Now, of course, this is not all or nothing. There are definitely some people who are gay. I'm thinking of Jonathan Van Ness, for example, who are definitely contributing to the problem. But I think that those lines tend to break down across class and not so much sexuality, because most, if not all, of the gay people I know personally are not crazy. They are sane, rational, normal people who just want to live their lives and have peace. But the LGBTQRS advocates of like Hollywood and TikTok are lunatics. So all of this to say, shame on you. If you support or think that it is okay that Fran was let go over pronouns, you are a loser. It is what it is. Now, just before I sat down to record this, the MS Society did put out a statement backtracking all of this and offered an apology to Fran. They said, quote, "We apologize to our longtime committed volunteer, Fran. Recently, we asked her to step down from her role as a group leader because of some statements that did not align with our recently implemented diversity, equity, and inclusion policy." So they continue on for a bit, and it's mostly garbage. Is it a win? I mean, sure, I suppose. However, I think that the bigger win will be when we reach a point in society that we recognize the inherent harm that DEI policies create in every single workplace in which they're implemented. They don't make workplaces inclusive. They ostracize. If you don't adhere to every single tiny little thing that we make up at any moment, you are done. That is the message, and it is clear. Okay, so we have one last story to wrap up this week. So I don't know about y'all, but I have not been paying very close attention to any of the Trump trials. They are just a political witch hunt, and I'm not going to waste my time or my energy until something actually happens. But something has happened. So in the New York case, he was fined over $350 million and is barred from conducting business in the city. I believe that this was the case based off of the AG supposing he lied about the value of his business. That might be a different one. I think there was like bank loans or something. I'm not sure. Again, I have not been following these. I really, really, really don't know because I don't particularly care. It's honestly not even important to the story because the story here is that Americans are fighting back. So after this ruling came out, truckers, starting last Monday, stated that they were going to start boycotting loads going to New York City in protest of this ruling. And it serves us all as a reminder that for as much as leftists hate Republicans, they are the backbones of the nation. Truckers and farmers are far more valuable than people realize, and it isn't until you are without those services that it dawns on you how much we need them. So I film my episodes about a week ahead of time. So as of filming this, those protests have only been going on for about a day. So I'll check in to see if it continues and if it does, what that looks like. And we'll discuss that more next week and maybe go more in depth about it. But I just wanted to take a moment to put the story out there because they make me feel better. Because at the end of the day, in a broader sense, this means that Americans are done lying down and getting screwed. More and more often, we are seeing working class people standing up and actually doing something. And I don't know about you all, but that definitely brings me a certain level of hope. That is all that I have for you guys today. I appreciate you guys all tuning in. Wherever it is that you are listening, if you wouldn't mind doing the thing that you are supposed to do to help me out, I would really appreciate it. If you are on YouTube, subscribe and like this video. If you are on Spotify, follow me and give the show a rating. All of my social medias, as usual, are down in the description bar down below. And if you like what I am doing over here on this show, in the description bar is a link that you can contribute to this channel and help support me. I would really appreciate it. But other than that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, and we will chat next Monday.